Hey everyone, so Silky, who I am a big fan of, by the way, if you don't already know, have sent me an awesome Outback t-shirt, which is really cool. And I thought rather than just putting it in a wardrobe, I would do a really cool project just using the Outback Pocketboy. So what I have here is a piece of willow. It's a piece that's been coppiced in the wood and just left by the rangers, so yeah, it's just gonna go to rot if nobody uses it. But what I want is a flexible piece of willow or hazel or something similar with a Y in it, with a crook in it, because that's going to form the hook of our hanger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3 cuts to section up our piece of willow, and then I'm going to do a series of cuts just to make it into the rough shape that we want for our hanger. So first of all, I'm going to cut it here, I'm going to cut it about here, and I'm going to cut it about here, and then I'm going to just tidy this up. So I'm going to do 3 main cuts, and then there's going to be a few cuts to tidy it, and then we're going to cut some notches in, and like I say, it's all going to be with this saw. That's it. Okay. So what I've done is I've cut one piece of willow slightly longer than the other without dropping it, and the idea is that will allow me to bend to form the shoulders of our coat hanger. So when these two are together, you'll get that kind of shape. And then when we get our Y-shaped branch, so this is going to form the hook of our hanger. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a few notches in this, and I'll show you the notches in a second. So what I've done, and I'll bring it up close to the camera so you can see, is I have cut 3 grooves like that. Now this allows me to get the blade of my saw, place it in, and I can chip off material. That allows me to create a flat spot. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do exactly the same again to create another notch. So exactly the same again, allows me to just flake out material. Now I'm not doing really big notches with this. It is a very delicate notch, but this is only a small saw and it's designed for doing really well at small tasks like this, small craft and carving tasks. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some notches in the end of our sticks so that I can fix them together. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut some notches that we're going to attach our hook to. You'll also notice that when I'm cutting, I'm not putting a lot of pressure onto the saw. The saw is actually incredibly sharp and it doesn't need a lot of force to work it. It is a pull saw, but you don't need to pull back very much to actually get it to work. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut some cordage and then we're going to lash this together. Okay, so I've cut my cordage, I've got my lengths of cord here, and what I'm now going to do is I'm just going to take my 2 lengths of cordage, sorry 3 lengths of cordage, one for the top piece, and I'm just going to lash our sticks together. Now what I've deliberately done, I'll show you here, is I've created a notch that this can lock into so that when I push it up it won't come undone. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this off with a clove hitch just for simplicity, lock one end into there and then just tightly wrap my cordage round. Now what I'm using here is number 12 bank line. So this is a thinner, lighter bank line than number 36 that some people use, but it's really, really handy for small craft projects. You can use paracord too, but I find that paracord, like number 36 bank line, is a little bit too heavy, and so you really struggle to get it to work nicely. So there we have our first lashing, which is a really simple parallel lashing. Started off with a clove hitch, finished off with a reef knot. And next what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a bend in our sticks. But I'm going to push down here just to lock in our shape. What I'm going to do as well to start, just so that I don't have to do it later, is put our clove hitch in. Now the stick snapped a little bit, but that's not a problem. We can still work with that. We can still carry on and do our lashing. And so our coat hanger is more triangular than rounded, but it'll still work for what we want to do. So even though our sticks had a bit of a malfunction, it can still work. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our third piece of cordage, which is here, and we're going to lash that on. We're going to lash this onto where our notch is, and the reason why it's slightly shorter is we're going to pull down just to provide a little bit of tension. So this time, rather than doing a parallel lashing like we did the other two, we're going to do a square lashing. and we're going to tighten up that square lashing. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use our cordage to pull down and pull our sticks together. We can tighten this up. What we can do is we can just finish it off with a few half hitches back on itself. So there we have a really simple coat hanger made with just the Silky Pocketboy.